So hi, everybody, and welcome to the 25th session of A Course in Miracles. We've done this. This will be our 25th time, everybody. So thank you, everybody that is here to join. I'm going to read lesson 25. If I can find it. So lesson 25 says, I do not know what anything is for. And again, this is building on, the lesson of, last week it was like, I do not perceive my own best interests. So this is building upon that. I do not know what anything is for. So that will be an interesting lesson for those who are at lesson 25. Tonight, we are continuing what I have called our healing sessions. We're going into a healing series. So last week, we talked about, guilt and shame hold no value. This week is our second part of that. Guilt and shame hold no value. Why is addressing guilt so important? Well, most of us were introduced to guilt very early in our childhood. I know that in my personal experience as, being a child, I was told that my sins caused this horrific, gruesome death that this man named Jesus endured. So, like some of us, we didn't know what to do with that other than to feel guilty, to feel bad. This was our first introduction into guilt. And not, having that sense of responsibility on us that we caused someone else's death. We were introduced to guilt very early on. And so this started our relationship with guilt. So it's important that we understand how to pull ourselves up from a heavy place and not stay in that space of guilt and shame and let the light in. I'm going to keep it real tonight. We all may have things that we have done in ignorance, unconscious, before we woke up to who we were, that when we think, dang, it just takes our joy away. Tonight is about freeing ourselves from that, not allowing ourselves to continue to have to damn ourselves to hell mentally every time our ego revisits that memory to us. In our second part of guilt, it is no surprise to me that the discussion about guilt inevitably leads into the concept of time. The past is the only portal that allows guilt to arise in us. It's only the past. It's never the present moment. It's only something that has occurred in the past. So if we stay in the present moment, we are released from guilt. I'm going to be in A Course in Miracles solely tonight. The first part of guilt and shame, I talked a little bit from Conversations with God. So if you missed that session, please go back to that because that was powerful as well. But tonight I'm going to be in A Course in Miracles. So I'm going to start on page 251. And this is going to be paragraph 4. So on page 251 in A Course in Miracles, paragraph 4 states, I'm not going to read the entire paragraph, but it states, the first sentence in it states, time can release as well as imprison, depending on whose interpretation of it you use. So time can either release us or imprison us. And later on in this text, it says, you would anticipate the future on the basis of your past experience and plan for it accordingly. So it's saying we would anticipate a future moment based on the past. He says, yet by doing so, you are aligning your past and your future and not allowing the miracle which could intervene between them to free you to be born again. And basically, by connecting our past and our future together, we're not allowing the beauty of the present moment to create the miracle that is meant to create. We are using time to imprison ourselves by bringing the past to the present moment through guilt. When we stay in the present moment, we allow a miracle to be birthed. And we're no good to anybody if we are in a guilty place. This is an incredible statement, y'all. It's on page 251, paragraph 5. It says, your past was made in anger. And if you use it to attack the present, you will not see the freedom that the present holds. I actually have this on my refrigerator. Your past was made in anger. So again, it does not benefit us to keep going to a past moment. On page 258, it says, all healing is released from the past. That is why the Holy Spirit is the only healer. He teaches that the past does not exist, a fact which belongs to the sphere of knowledge. Page 260 says, guilt remains the only thing that hides the Father, for guilt is the attack upon his Son. It says it's the only thing that hides the Father from us. It also says on page 260, if you place your faith in the past, the future will be like it. So again, we're leaving the past where it is. So listen carefully, y'all. I'm going to read on page 262. And this is fire. I'm reading from paragraph 7. Somebody's not muted. I need you to mute yourself. I'm reading from paragraph 7 on page 262. Check this out. It says, guilt makes you blind. For while you see one spot of guilt within you, you will not see the light. And by projecting it, the world seems dark and shrouded in your guilt. You throw a dark veil over it and cannot see it because you cannot look within. You are afraid of what you would see there, but it is not there. The thing you fear is gone. If you would look within, you would see only the atonement, which means forgiveness, which means redemption. It says you will see only the atonement shining in quiet and in peace upon the altar to your Father. So Jesus is saying we are afraid to look within. We are afraid of what we will see. This sounds to me like almost like an ode to meditation. And it reminds me of us all when we're so busy, or if we know people who just can't sit still. They're just so busy. They have to have something going on in the background all the time. They're afraid of that silence and are afraid of what might come up. They have to be distracted. In this paragraph, Jesus is saying, go ahead, look within yourself. What you are afraid of is not there. He says guilt makes us blind. And while you are focusing on one spot of guilt within you, that one thing you did that cannot release you, you will not see the light. You will not see your light. Jesus invites us to perceive the light within us. He also says, which I think is powerful, he says something about that's how we start to look at the world. He says, and by projecting it, the world seems dark and shrouded in your guilt. It's like we look at the world through that same lens. And we talked about the last time that we talked about fear. We talked about, how it's fear and guilt and shame, how it's a slow death. It's a very slow, painful death. So Jesus is inviting us to release ourselves from that. So he continues on paragraph 8, it says, do not be afraid to look within. The ego, check this out, the ego tells you all is black with your guilt within you and bids you not to look. Instead, it bids you look upon your brothers and look at their guilt, see their guilt in them. Yet this you cannot do without remaining blind. For those who see their brothers in the dark and guilty in the dark in which they shroud them are too afraid to look upon the light within. Within you is not what you believe is there and what you put your faith in. Within you is the holy sign of perfect faith your Father has in you. He does not value you as you do, and thank God. Jesus says he does not value you as you do. He knows himself and he knows the truth in you. He created you. God created us, right? He knows there is no difference, for he knows not of differences. Can you see guilt where God knows there is perfect innocence? You can deny his knowledge, but you cannot change it. Look then upon the light he placed within you and learn that what you feared was there has been replaced with love. This is so encouraging. This to me, this is so encouraging because Jesus is saying, like, look within, go ahead and look within. Your ego has convinced you that it's so dark in there. But you are as God created you. That was my Course in Miracles lesson today. You are as God created you. On page 263 in paragraph 4, it says, when you maintain that you are guilty, but the source of your guilt lies in the past, you are not looking within, you are not looking inward. It says the past is not in you. And Jesus goes on to say your weird associations to it have no meaning in the present. So this is a holy statement, y'all. Like Jesus is saying, when we maintain, when we consistently go to the fact that we're guilty, when we maintain that, we're not looking in us. And that is so true, because when we are feeling guilty, there's no way that you're not focusing on the past. It's an action that you did in the past. We're not looking within. We're not focusing on our light, the essence of who we are. We are summing our entire character based on that one action or that series of actions that we did in the past. Jesus says our weird associations with the past has no meaning to the present. To spirit, this is weird that we do this. We've been conditioned to do it, to define ourselves based on an action in the past. I just think about even when they talk about cancel culture, where if somebody said something 10 years ago and somebody goes in the archives and find that they said that, it's like, oh my God, so-and-so said this, you're no longer worthy to get paid for being a comedian or whatever, actor, actress, preacher, whatever. We're canceling you out. Only we do that. So Jesus is saying this is not who you are. So we are taught this judgment, which is why we're so hard on ourselves and others. Further down on this same page, Jesus says a minute, and this is page 263. He says a minute, even less, will be enough to free you from the past and give your mind in peace over to the atonement. It's just a choice, y'all. It's just a choice to say, you know what? I'm releasing this. I'm not carrying this anymore. I'm releasing this. So on page 264, paragraph 6, I'm going to read this. Paragraph 6 on page 264. It says, as long as you believe that guilt is justified in any way, in anyone, whatever he may do, you will not look within where you would always find atonement. God is always ready for us to be that which he created. It says the end of guilt will never come as long as you believe there is a reason for it. For you must learn that guilt is always totally insane and has no reason. The Holy Spirit seeks not to dispel reality. If guilt were real, so if guilt were really a real thing, atonement would not be. The purpose of atonement is to dispel illusions, not to establish them as real and then forgive them. So Jesus is saying guilt is insanity. I mean, I don't even know what I can even add to that. He says guilt is always totally insane. So on paragraph 9, on page 264, in paragraph 9, it says, you who have been unmerciful to yourself, do not remember your Father's love. I mean, that of anything that I've read, I feel like that is so deep. Like, you who have been unmerciful to yourself, do not remember your Father's love. Let's remember. the love of our Creator. Let's remember the love of our Father. On page 275, in paragraph 7, it says, the way to teach this simple lesson is merely this: guiltlessness is invulnerability. Therefore, make your invulnerability manifest to everyone. Teach him that whatever he may try to do to you, your perfect freedom from the belief that you can be harmed shows him that he is guiltless. He can do nothing that can hurt you. And by refusing to allow him to think he can, you teach him that the atonement which you have accepted for yourself is also his. There is nothing to forgive. No one can hurt the Son of God. His guilt is wholly without cause, and being without cause cannot exist. So that's powerful. Jesus is taking us back to no one can harm you. Remember, anything that can be destroyed is not real. So now that we see that guilt is totally useless and that God does not view us as guilty, the challenge which has always been is releasing ourselves from our own judgment. So how can we do this? How can we release ourselves from our judgment? Let's discuss some ways to release ourselves from guilt. So once we have recognized that we have acted in error, instead of personalizing our actions and identifying with it, we can investigate where the source of the action came from, because it is not ultimately who we are. So ask yourself, okay, and again, if there's anything we're feeling guilty about, we're going back in the past. So once that memory comes up on you, ask yourself, okay, what programs were running that prompted me to do that? And I'm going to give an example. I had someone tell me that one of her colleagues at work is from a different nationality. So at work, this coworker would often say something to her in a low voice when she passed by her. And so my friend said she would ignore the woman and wouldn't respond to her until finally one day she actually heard that this woman was speaking to her every time she walked by, but she would ignore. And so she was horrified at the realization that she was actually, she was one of those people where somebody spoke to you and you didn't respond. And so my friend felt awful, to know that she wasn't speaking back to this person. And she thought about it. Why had I assumed that what this woman was saying under her mask was something negative? Why was that my first assumption? And she remembered that as a child, she had spent a few years growing up in a community of people who shared her colleague's nationality, and it was a negative experience for her. She was ostracized and not accepted. They, kind of cliquish. And so because of that experience, she expected negative interactions from her colleague just because she shared that same nationality. And so in fact, my friend was contaminating the present moment with the past. So once she became aware of her error, and remember, in conversations with God, God tells us that we don't need guilt to let us know when we've done something wrong. All we need is awareness. So once she became aware of her error, she apologized to her coworker and actually shared her experience with her, that she had when she was a little girl. And the coworker graciously accepted her apology. So my friend was actually able to release herself by investigating the conditioning behind her actions. Remember, we are made of love, from love, for love. So when we do something outside of love, there is a reason. It's not who we are. And so once she investigated the conditioning behind her actions, she remedied the situation with change behavior. Do not turn your errors into an identity of self. It is not who you are. We are not guilty. Recognize the behavior, investigate the conditioning, and decide to choose differently. Many times, if we don't go into guilt, we will recognize where that error came from. But if we're focused on being a bad person, then we won't even tap into, why did I do that? Most of the time we will find that it's either conditioning or it's from an experience from the past that's actually come up for healing. And that's how the universe works. If we've had an experience in the past that we have not healed from, the universe will put us in a similar situation to show us, you know what, that I still subconsciously carry that pain with me. That needs to be healed. And that's how we're able to recognize, what needs to be healed in us. So after you recognize the error and investigate the conditioning, forgive yourself. This is not optional. Everybody here, everybody listening to this, you have something, you are given this information for a reason. You have something to share. So it's important that we just release all baggage, all low vibrations off of us so that we can continue the function that we are here for. So that is the lesson tonight. Does anybody have anything to offer? You don't have to. But before we go into the meditation, I wanted to open it up to the group to see if anybody had anything to offer about that.
I do.
Who was that? Who was that,
That's,
Kevin?
yes.
Okay, what you got to offer, Kevin?
So I guess it's more of a comment, but I think those of us who have children, kids,
Mhm.
and I don't mean little babies because I think most of us have kids that are probably teenage kids or older, and I know for me, I can harbor some guilt as to certain things that I'm probably should have did or could have did or didn't do, or whatever the case may be. And that guilt is kind of hard to shake. It kind of stays with you for a long time. And I want to thank you for this teaching tonight because it's going to help me advance that narrative that what's happened has happened. Good, bad, or indifferent, and to hold on to it in a guilty sense, just it almost it makes you relive the occurrence or the thought or the emotion over and over and over and over again. So I get it. I get it.
Kevin,
Thank
I'm
you.
over here shouting inside. You are absolutely right. Of the things that haunt me, you're right. As a parent, you're right. As a parent, there's always something. You know what I'm saying? There's always something that you can reflect back on, and you that will steal your joy if you allow it. Thank you for that honest comment. And yes, release it. I've had to over and over again tell myself, you know what? Release this. This is not you. Um, and we're really navigating in the dark. And most of us have come to this place of consciousness later on in life, right? After we've made the mistakes. So, yes, that is blessed. That's blessed. Yes. Does anybody else have anything to offer? And if not, I'm going to pull up the meditation. I love that. I love that comment because it's so true. So we're at perfect time. We're at 6:34. And so we have time for this meditation, y'all. This meditation, I modified it a little bit, but I got it from a site called Taking Charge of Your Health and Well-Being. And it's powerful, and we're going to do some powerful forgiveness work this evening real quick. So if everyone is in a position where you're not driving, where you can sit and close your eyes, I invite everybody to close your eyes and sit comfortably and begin our breathing. Breathe through your nose, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth, releasing all that does not serve you. As we begin the breathing process, we are beginning the process of getting into relaxation and releasing the stressors of the day. This is the time that we say, this is my time to disconnect from everything, responsibilities, stressors, all to-do lists, all that does not serve us. So as we continue to inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth, and as we begin to relax, starting with the eyelids, relaxing those eyelids. And from that place, allowing that relaxation to extend outward throughout the face, relaxing those shoulders. If we notice, we're always kind of have our shoulders in a tense mode, consciously allowing our shoulders to slump beside us and just relax. With every exhale, relaxing the body, relaxing the chest, relaxing the muscles in the abdomen, relaxing the hips and the thighs, relaxing your knees, your calves, your ankles, all the way down to your feet. Just feeling that beautiful energy of relaxation. Now, I would like everyone in this moment, now that we are relaxed, I would like for you to invite your angels and spirit guides around you right now as we are about to do forgiveness work. So silently invite your guides, asking them for support right now during this meditation. I want us all to bring to mind someone whom you think you have harmed intentionally or unintentionally. And this is often the first person that comes to mind. If that person came to mind, that's it. That's him or her. This is someone where it feels heavy or unresolved when you think of this person. Someone where you feel a drop in your vibration when they come to you. Taking a deep breath. As you're viewing this person in your mind, observe them. Look at them in their eyes as they stand before you and you hold them in your mind's eye. And you will notice that when you think of this person, various painful memories or thoughts may arise in you. Observe these thoughts. Just observe them. As if you are looking at them outside of you. Just observe the thought forms that come up. Remember that your thoughts or memories do not have to have an emotional impact on you. Remember that they are just thoughts, just remnants from a past moment that your mind has been conditioned to associate this person with. Both you and this person that is in your mind's eye, both of you all are higher than the past. The past does not define either one of you. Now, when you are ready, gently say this person's name to yourself and ask forgiveness from them for how you may have harmed them, intentionally or unintentionally. Trust yourself to ask forgiveness in a way that feels right for you, without getting lost in the content of the story, without having to defend yourself of whatever happened. Just taking responsibility for your part and taking your time as you do this, as you have the support of those loving beings around you. At your own pace, ask them, may I be forgiven? I did not know what I now know. And let's take a few moments to communicate that in your own way. So as you have put out that you have asked for forgiveness, feel their loving acceptance of your apology. Now imagine as you're continuing to view them, look at them beyond their form, beyond the body that they carry around, who they really are. See them as the beam of light that they are, the invulnerable beam of light of God spark, that God spark of light that they really are. And as you view them in your mind's eye, imagine that they are extending you through the palms of their hands, that they're extending their palms towards you, and that they are sending you healing energy. Feel that loving, beautiful, healing God light that they are sending you in love. Receive it, for they are God as well. Receive that light, receive that forgiveness, receive that healing energy. Now, as we take a deep breath and exhale, and as we continue on our forgiveness practice, I would like everyone to again ask their angels and spirit guides to surround you with extra love and light. And now I would like for you to hold in your mind's eye a person whom you feel has hurt you in the past. Again, noticing the details of this person's appearance. Noticing what feelings arise in you as you bring this person to mind. Understanding that you are higher than these thought forms. As you regard them, you notice there's something different about them. Somehow there is a level of understanding that they have that they did not have before. So now I would like for you to give them an opportunity to ask you to forgive them. In their own words, allow them to ask you for your forgiveness. And now I would like for you to consider the conditioning and the experiences this person may have had that contributed to them acting in the way that they did. Understanding that they are to take personal responsibility, but look at them in a higher sense. Consider their experiences, their childhood, their conditioning, and how it could have contributed to their behavior. And this is a way to view ourselves and others with compassion. And as you take a deep breath, release all those negative feelings you may feel in your body now. Be conscious of the fact that it was their ego that led to their error. It is not who they really are. Now, with the support of your guides, when you are ready, begin to offer that person your forgiveness in your own words, saying to the person in your mind, using this person's name, I forgive you. I forgive you for the ways you have hurt me. In your own way, in your own language, in your own time, with the support of your guides. Look them in the eyes and repeat at your own pace. Trusting yourself to forgive in a way that feels right for you. Without getting lost in the content of the story of whatever may have happened. And I will allow you to take a moment to do that. And as you take a deep breath and exhaling any excess negative energy, any excess low vibrational feelings, as you release that with your exhale, I would like for you to imagine yourself extending your arms out, sending this person your healing light that you are made of. Extend out through the palms of your hands that love and light that you have an abundance of, because you recognize that this person did what they did out of poverty, and they came to you for gifts. As you send them your healing light, recognize how they receive your light. Observe how their body absorbs your powerful healing energy. And as you send them this light, you know in your heart that this is true forgiveness. Now I would like for you to take a deep breath. And for you to look within your chest, Look within the center of your chest. And recognize this same beautiful light. And it may start out as small, a small spark of light in your chest as you observe yourself. And now allow this light to grow bigger and brighter. You have an abundance of this God light. You are literally made of this light. Allowing that light to grow bigger and brighter. Now, as it's taken over your entire body, breathing it in. Now this light is extending even beyond your form and extending outward. Further and further out as you light up your home, your community, the state that you live in, the country, and to the entire planet. You're sending out this beautiful healing light. Because this is your purpose. And as you perceive and experience this light that you extend out, you also receive it within yourself as you forgive yourself for anything you have done that keeps you from perceiving the love and light that is always available to you. And as we take another deep breath, and as we begin to integrate back into our bodies, back into the rooms we're in, back into our homes, we have just raised our vibration. Because as we forgive others, we forgive ourselves. And as we open our eyes, I would like to remind everyone to do this meditation as often as you can. Because every time that you do, you release baggage from your aura. And when you forgive another, you forgive an aspect of your mind, because the world, the universe, is a reflection of our fears and our thoughts about ourselves. It's a projection. So if you forgive another, you forgive an aspect of your own mind. And that's why this is such a powerful activity to do. So as we begin to open our eyes and integrate back in our rooms, I want us all to often forgive ourselves and others. And that's the meditation, and it's 6:58, which is great because I didn't want to hold you guys too long. Is there anybody that wanted to share anything else before we close out?
Just wanted to thank you. It was really nice to connect with everyone. I needed all of that. And I feel so much lighter. I feel like
Oh, I love
the
it.
light. I am just beaming. So thank
I
you.
love it. I love it. Thank you, Ebony. Yes, yes, yes. Greg says thank you. You're welcome, Greg. Thank you, Ebony. I did this meditation. I always meditate with y'all when we meditate, but I definitely did this with you guys. I definitely needed it. We all do. We all do. So I'm glad.